Hello everyone and welcome to another reading vlog. Now this video is not going to be about a new release like I did with the Emperor of the Vampire, but the reason why I thought about making a reading vlog for this book in particular is because I'm reading it in another language. Now, a bit of background story before starting. Now, the book in question is this one, Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. Now, the original language of the book is English, but I'm reading the French version and I'm going to explain why in a bit. And I think it's the only translated version of this book. Like, I know for certain that an Italian one doesn't exist yet. But anyway, I'm actually studying languages at university. I'm studying English and French since, Italian is my mother tongue. So, there are different ways of learning a language. This video is not going to be about different strategies one could use to learn a new language. But I found that one of the ways that I can use to further my language skills is reading books in that language. Now, of course, my experience with the two languages is a bit different. I've been learning English for, ever since elementary school. I am able to do whole videos while speaking in English, while if I had to do the same in French, it would take me a lot more effort. But anyways, I decided to read this book in French to further my fluency in French, since I'm not as fluent in French as I am in English, and I don't read as many books in French as I do in English, because I mainly read in English, while this is my second book in French, if you're not counting the books I have to read for university. But I'm choosing for those to not count. Now, I'm actually well far into the book. I'm actually on chapter 25, but the reason why I thought, only in this moment to make a reading vlog is because when you're not fluent in a language and you read in that language, sometimes it is difficult to appreciate the actual story and the plot, because you're so focused on getting the words, on the grammar of understanding, what you're reading, because you're not going to understand every word. Of course, you need to have a good, level of language if you want to read a book in that target language, especially if you're picking up, a romance novel and not like those specific language books targeted by language levels. So sometimes you forget that you're actually reading a story and you're like there focusing on your words, on what does this mean, why didn't she use this word, and etc, etc, etc. So you're more focused on the language aspect of a book. When that doesn't happen anymore, I mean, you're not just like farther and got better at the language, but you're just like stuck at the same level, but you're actually enjoying what you're reading. That, I think, is an actual evidence of how good that book is and how strong and powerful the story is. Exactly what happened to me with this book. At first I was like, as I said before, I was like underlining the words I didn't get, looking for their meaning, and focusing on the language aspect of the book. And the story was nice. I was actually enjoying the characters, but I was not into it as to the point where I'm only thinking about the story. I want to actually finish the book to learn what happens. I was just doing it for the academic aspect of this reading. But now as I've reached chapter 25, well, things are a bit different. Things are really starting to get different. I'm just like going through chapters, appreciating the story, appreciating the chemistry between Elliot and Maisie. I realized I've talked for all this time without actually saying what the book I'm reading is about. Now, this is a love story between Elliot and Maisie. This is childhood best friends to strangers to lovers, and you might not have guessed, but this trope is actually quite elite. It's just for quite good angst, and it helps that this book is structured with a mirrored organization chapters, in the sense that the chapters are present, past, present, past, present, past. So you see the different kind of relationship that they have now, contrast to what they used to have. Now, Elliot and Macy actually met, um, I think, when they were about teenagers, so then not exactly childhood best friend, but the kind of friendships that forges when you're going through some rough patches, and it develops into something so much more than a friendship, because Macy has lost her mother, and her father goes to, I don't remember, Pittsburgh, to look for a house, and they found one next to the Petropolis house, Elliot's and his family. So they immediately form a friendship based on their love of books and reading and literature in general. And then, of course, things develop into something way more. Now, I'm not as far along in the book as to have understood finally what happened between them, like why they've gone from, best friends and something more to completely strangers. But the tension is there, the chemistry is there, and the tension of the actual story is developing up to, I think, it's going what is going to be the climax of this all narrative tension. But we'll see. I'm not even going to make prediction about what happened or whatever. I'm just here to enjoy the ride, and actually, very considering myself very lucky that I, took a leap of faith in this book to blow me away in such a way that it will actually will go beyond the linguistic barrier. And that only happened to me once before, and that is with the Emmanuel Carrère book, The Adversaire. That again, I picked it up for my French class, and I've actually, up until the middle of the book, I think, it started to really get to me, and I just got through it so quickly. I actually finished it before I was supposed to, so since we're here, and I wanted to make this video for celebrating this book, praising this book, but also talking about the struggles that it is reading in another language that is not your own, but specifically in a language that you're not very fluent in, because again, I mainly read in English and I don't have many problems. I mean, I'm not saying I get every single word, because sometimes words that I've never heard before come up and I'm just like, okay, what is that? But it's not the same as in French. So I'm going to show you how I approach reading a book in another language from a academic point of view, like from a learning point of view, rather than just enjoying the ride and seeing what happens. But before that, I wanted to just say another thing about the story. It's not finished. I've heard that it's quite sad, that people cry, and I don't know why that is, because so far nothing heart-wrenching or utterly sad has happened. I know from the very first page that Missy loses her mom quite young to cancer, but I'm guessing that there is something more between them that happens, and I'm not ready because I already had my fair share of tears this year, I'd say, because I've just finished reading You Rich Sam. Now, I'm not even going to pretend to be able to summarize what I think about the book in a couple of minutes, because I would not be able to. If you follow me on Instagram, I've posted a couple of reels and stories, but they're already disappeared to show you just how my experience with Rich Sam went. And I'm guessing it is the same for everyone that has picked that book up, which makes us a whole group of masochists, because that book is not available for purchase everywhere. Like, for weeks I've been trying to get a physical copy of it, and it's just not available. What does this say about us? Whatever. But I wanted to make a quick reflection on the trope, on the chemistry between Elliot and Maisie, because this is a very specific kind of friendships, a very specific bond that links these two people. And I've said before, this is the kind of relationship that develops when you're going through some rough patches and you need to start over, because the people around you are so stuck in what happened and in the old version of you, that they don't know how to be around this new version of yourself. And of course, I said this is very specific because not everyone goes through these tragedies, fortunately. So it's not something that happens every day. But Elliot and Macy have just the ability to see the other for what it is, and to just be able to let themselves go when they're in the company of others, of the other. And I think this is also shown in the way they seem to be comfortable in sharing silence. They just that silence intimacy that you share with a person when you just share a space, but like you're busy doing other things, but you're doing it together in the same space without feeling the need to say something or to fill the silence. You're just there, finding comfort in the idea and on the physical presence of the other. That is beautiful, and that is beautiful, and it speaks louder than everything else ever could about the kind of affection and relationship that links them. But also, it's just I I'm feeling very represented by Macy, because I've had a kind of friendship like Maisie and Elliot have, not that much deep, not that much, long lasting, because mine was just through middle school, and then high school started, and bye bye, and we lost touch. But special when you have so much inside of you that you're afraid to show because of judgment. Because if you're a girl going through high school, going through middle school, and you have not that much experience with boys, you're not just outgoing, going to parties, you don't have as a lot of friends, etc., etc. It makes you feel like you're different, like there's something wrong with you. And you, of course, you grew up and you understand that that's not the point, and you just have to find your crowd, your kind of people with whom you share your vibe, even though these people don't need to be exactly like you, because it's a bit paradoxic. There is no one like you, but I mean, like putting into an extrovert binary, you don't, specifically have to find an introvert such as yourself, an extrovert such as yourself, etc., etc. But you just need to find your group, your crowd of people. They just get you know, and it takes time. And in the meantime, you just can feel so so bad, so bad. So when you find that even that one single person that gets you, it doesn't judge you for who you are, it's just special. It's special, it's priceless, and it's exactly what Elliot and Maisie have. The thing that makes it even more beautiful and special is just that they form this bond while during the teens, so there's this whole other theme of you know finding yourself, in a sense that you're experimenting, you're kind of trying to see what you like, what you don't like. Us girls have are usually more kept away from the much more adult side of relationship. I mean, it was the case for me. It is the same for Maisie, especially since she doesn't have a mother that eases her into these kind of conversations, and she has them with Elliot, and he's so so funny, but also so cute, and Elliot is so sweet. Like I find myself either falling for the darkest kind of character, villains, morally gray, either that or this kind of character like Elliot that are just, a bit nerdy, intelligent, very quiet, a bit like Remus. I mean, I fall for two kind of characters, okay? I'll say three, but let's say two, because they're either like the Darkling or like, Billy Russo, this kind of characters, or they're either like Remus Lupin from Harry Potter. So you understand my dichotomy, but whatever. It's just so sweet, and I'm hoping that this book doesn't break my heart because it is still in pieces from You Rich Sam, and I'm not ready. I'm not ready. So we'll see. So taking a detour from the plot side of this video or the book side of this video, let's go back to the linguistic aspect of it. And I'm going to show you how I'm reading this particular book. So usually I go chapters by chapters. This means that I usually read one chapter till the end. I'm reading, I highlight with a pencil or whatever words or expressions that I don't understand or I'm not too sure about, or I just want to fixate in my memory. Then I go back, I pick up my trusted reverso, or if you want to do with the dictionary, you're free to do so. It's the same. I look for the definition of the specific word or the specific expression and I annotate it. As you can see, there are some words that are highlighted with a pencil, ringard, gouverneur, branle, etc. But as I've said before, I've been so taken with the story that these last few chapters that I've read, I have not annotated anything, so I have to go a bit back to find something to show you. Honestly, okay, so like for example, il me fait un clin d'œil. Je ne savais pas. I didn't know what that meant, so that it is okay, and I did the same with, that's what I do basically. So I'm sure there are some tons and countless of other ways you could approach reading, a book, learning purpose. And in the beginning, I used to have a little notebook beside me where I read, where I annotated every word I had underlined or I didn't know, and it's of course definition. But the truth is, it takes a lot of effort just reading in another book and doing this, meaning research thing. It takes a lot of effort. It's not the same as, open up a book and reading it for your enjoyment and entertaining. So doing this at the thing of the notebook, etc., it also hinders you of specific location. Like I keep the book with me everywhere I go. Of course, if I have to keep also the notebook, I will not be able to read while I'm on the train, while I'm at university, location, places where you read quickly just to kill time. And also, another tip that I wanted to share with you is that specifically when you're reading in a language that you're not fluent in, so you're still learning the pronunciation, the generic rules of pronunciation, but of course, especially in French, there are some really, there are a lot of exceptions and particular cases. So in this case, it is really, really helpful to listen to the audiobook while you're reading. I know that this particular book is on Audible, and of course, there are countless of other apps for listening to books, but I also know that if you read on Play Books, There's the option of the automatic reading. Of course, the voice is not smooth as if it was being read by an actual human being, but it gets the point across, so it helps you. Because this is, of course, if you're reading to in if you're looking for a complete linguistic experience, like you're reading so you get the reading skills, but you're also getting the grammatical skills, while with the also lexical one. But the pronunciation is really important, especially especially with French. Like, of course, I understand that if you want to learn French because you need it, you're probably not going to pick, pick up a book, to go about it. But you know in a full circle situation, this really helps. And it also makes it reading even more faster, because sometimes when you're reading in another language, you focus in your mind with pronouncing every word as it should be, losing focus of the actual sentence, of the actual paragraph, of the actual story. But if there is someone else doing that for you, then the reading, of course, goes smoothly and way faster. So this is what I do basically. Hope that you would find these tips helpful. If you have others, if you do things differently from me, then let me know. I'm always on the lookout for good learning tips, honestly, because especially French is very complicated. If you're learning French, then and yeah, back to the story. Okay, remember when I said that this was supposed to be a book that made you cry, and I said, well, I'm not sure if I'm going to, because I'm all cried out and whatever. Well, I'm a clown, because this book did manage to make me cry. It was just so unexpected. I did not see it coming, honestly. I was so caught up in the story, in the plot, in Elliot and Macy's story, that I was just, trying to figure out why they had broken up in the first place, but never would I have thought about this happening. Poor Macy. Poor Macy. Well, I finished it. I finished it, and this book is just amazing. Top tier. If I hadn't already established the fact that second chance trope is one of my favorites and is elite, this book would certainly made me think so, because it's just, it was just the right balance and amount of fluff, of sweetness and tender moments between them, and of angst and longing and yearning at the same time. And there is also, a bit of smut, not exactly explicit scenes, but they are there. So it's just so complete, in the sense of when you're portraying and telling the story of two young people who grow up together and discover things together and become adults together. And no, their story is just full of everything. It makes it seem so authentic and realistic and so unique. And I never would have thought of liking this book so much. I firstly picked it up because everyone was talking about it. I was curious, and I chose to read it in French for the reason that I already told you. So I said, if I'm not going to like it, doesn't matter, it's going to be fine, because I learned some new words, I practice my French and whatever. Because I'm not actually a fan of best friends to lovers, but this, my god, this, I actually changed my mind a bit about friends to lovers, best friends to lovers with people we met on vacation. Alex and Poppy on my heart. But this book, Elliot and Macy, it's just, I don't know. I wish I could find the right words to express how much, this book shook me. But it's just such an amazing story, such a wild journey. It is everything you could possibly want from a love story, from a romance book. And it now, if I take away the fact that I read it in French, it flew so quickly. And I when I got to the half of it, the second half of the story, I was just so caught up on it that I completely forgot I was reading in French. I completely forgot that I was supposed to read it from a linguistic point of view and all taking notes and whatever. I just completely flew through it because I needed to know. I needed to know what happened. And Elliot and Maisie are just so compelling. And I don't, guys, please listen to me. I picked this book up. It is, I think it's available again in English. There's a French edition, and I think there's also an Italian version. I don't know, but please, please, this book deserves everything, everything. So yeah. So yeah, this was my review. Very cool, very hot review. Just finished the book, and I just needed to talk about it because I was just shook. I was on the edge of my seat, wanting to know, waiting for the confrontation between Elliot and Maisie. Then I was crying, then I was smiling, and then I was so when I was swooning because of them, because they're so cute. So yeah, hope you like this new kind of video, this new kind of reading vlog. I'm not sure if I'm going to make any more of this, but thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.